Hey y'all, we're gonna make a pizza today. And I'm gonna show you how to make an easy homemade pizza crust that anybody can do. Let's get to cooking. So I have everything measured out here, so I'm just gonna walk you through this. You take 1 cup of very warm water. You're gonna add 1 package of active dry yeast. Now in my case, I use a jar like this. I buy it in bulk. So I measured out almost 2 teaspoons, and I'm gonna sprinkle that in. Now we're gonna add our sugar, and this is 1 teaspoon of white sugar. And we're just gonna stir this up till it dissolves just a little bit. Try to get it all down in the warm water. And then we're gonna set it aside for 10 minutes. Now in the meantime, I've preheated my oven to 450. And I'm gonna prepare my pan. I'm gonna spray it with some Pam, or you can just lightly grease it. And then I'm gonna sprinkle some cornmeal on it. Very lightly spray the pan. You can use a cookie sheet, you can use whatever you want. And then I'm just taking a little cornmeal and just putting it on the bottom. It'll be on the bottom of the crust. So easy. So my oven is preheated to 450. It just went off, and that tells me it's been about 10 minutes for my yeast to get ready. And you'll see what I mean when I show it to you. So let's get to putting this together so we can make our pizza. So I hope you can see this good, but this is called proofing your yeast. And what this is when you'll know if your yeast is still good. And it's when it bubbles up or foams up. And this is perfect right here. So we're gonna add our other ingredients to it. So we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So now we're going to add 2½ cups of bread flour. If you don't have bread flour, you can use all-purpose flour. But thankfully I did have some in the freezer. Imagine that, right? If I run out of something, my girls say, what's wrong with that? I mean, Mom don't run out of anything. So you're gonna stir this till it's smooth. And mix together. I like to use one of these rubber spatula-like spoons because you can scrape the sides. There's no kneading in this, and really there's not any rising. You're gonna let it rest for 5 minutes, but that's all. After I get this mixed together, I'm gonna set this aside and let it rest for 5 minutes. So I know this is all mixed together. So what we've done so far is we preheated our oven to 450 degrees. We prepared our pizza pan, but you can use a cookie sheet, you can use an iron skillet, you can use whatever you want. We let our yeast proof in a cup of warm water, and that's 1 package of dry yeast, or about 2 teaspoons full. Once it proofed, then we added our salt, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 2.5 cups of bread flour, and you also can use all-purpose flour. So I'm gonna let this rest now for 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna get my toppings prepared, and we'll make the pizza crust. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take my dough, and I'm gonna put it on this, you can put it on a board, just as long as it's a floured board. I'm gonna set this in the sink. And then I'm just gonna take some of my flour, and if it's too wet, you wanna add some on there, and this one does feel a little bit wet. You don't have to knead it, you're just gonna get it ready to get it on the pizza pan where it won't stick to your hands. I think that's just about enough. It's got flour on the bottom, and I just kind of rounded it into a ball. Now what I've done is I've transferred it from the freezer paper to the pizza pan. And all I'm gonna do, and if you need flour, if it sticks to you, just get a little bit on your hands, and you're just gonna press it out to the size you want it and the thickness you want it. Like I say, if it sticks to your hands, all you have to do is just add more flour to your hands or the top of it. Now this is just for me and Sweet Hunter, and I'm probably not gonna make it quite as big as this pan, but you can, and you can make it thinner. We'll see how it turns out. Now I'm just using toppings that I had in my refrigerator or freezer. I like to make just a little lip on the edge just to hold the sauce in. We don't like ours real thick. That's probably about as big as we need. I'll probably eat 1 piece and he'll eat 2. We don't eat that much. So now we're gonna add our toppings. I have some leftover spaghetti sauce that I made, and I had some olives, black and green. I have some salad peppers that a friend made, and some ground beef that was left over from something. I can't remember what it was. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna spread a little pizza sauce on here. I love the pizza sauce, but I like for it to be not real runny and thick on here. I like more to dip mine in the pizza sauce or spaghetti sauce after it's cooked. So I didn't have any fresh tomatoes. I hadn't got groceries in probably 2 or 3 weeks. So that's about all I'm gonna do with that. And I would guess that's half a cup of sauce on this, but like I said, you can spread this pizza out, you can make it bigger. I'm gonna go ahead and put oh yeah, and I had some pepperonis somewhere. Where did I put my pepperonis? Found my pepperonis. They were sitting over here on the other end of the island. So I had those in the freezer. So what I'm gonna do now, this ground beef is drained. Actually, I think it's ground deer. And I'm gonna put it on half of it because I'm not a big meat eater. And I prefer just to have the veggies. All right, and I'm gonna add the let's do the veggies next. Let's do the onions, and onions. The black olives and the green olives, and we both like these. Speaking of onions, I am going to get some and add on my side. He doesn't eat them, but I am going to get some. So let's go ahead and put maybe some veggies over here. I'll just put the rest of them on mine. And we're going to add these salad peppers. These are delicious. If my friend makes them, she cans them, but if you want to get some in the store, it's the pepperonci, I believe is how you say it. That's what they are. Salad peppers. And they are delicious. Looks like I need to steal some of his. All right, I'm going to add his pepperonis. I actually wouldn't mind having a couple of pepperonis too, so I might put some on my side too. Not much. Not as much as him. And then I'm going to get me some onions and put on my side. So I had one slice in the refrigerator that I had used, so I'm going to chop it up. You can leave it whole, you can chop it up. It goes further if you chop it up, so that's why I'm chopping it up. This is a yellow onion, and they're probably my favorite because they're stronger. And I think I put a little too many jalapenos. That would be good too, pepperonis on mine. I'm gonna put where I'll be able to see which side is mine. He wouldn't like it if he bit into one of these onions. Oh, they're so good. So now I'm gonna add my cheese. Now this is just the cheese I had. You could do slices, you could do mozzarella. Mozzarella is actually my favorite. But like I said, I didn't have any. And I like lots of cheese. So isn't that pretty? That's before it's cooked. So I'm gonna put this in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. So in the meantime, I have washed my dishes, cleaned my kitchen, and I poured just a little bit of olive oil in this, and I'm just gonna brush the sides of this with olive oil. You don't have to do that, I just think it looks pretty. And then I'm gonna set it back in the oven for about 1 more minute, and then I'll take it out and it'll be ready to serve. Now see how pretty that made the crust? I think that's so pretty. I mean, who needs to go out? Seriously. Now y'all go cook something.